Ah, there we go. Okay, we're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. I'm Samantha Studebaker-Carl, broadcasting live from beautiful Southwest Georgia, and I'm here with my good friends Danielle and Catherine and Sandy, and then hopefully Dan's going to jump on as well. He's having a few microphone issues, so hopefully he'll get that figured out and be able to jump back on and add to the conversation. But in case you're new here, this is our Saturday Morning Mastermind. We do this every single Saturday, with the exception of just the occasional one if somebody's sick or something like that, like last week. We were all sick last week. It's kind of crazy, or I don't know everybody, but most of us were fighting some kind of an illness last week, which was no fun at all. And so we all just decided it was best just to take a break for a week, and everybody can kind of recoup a little bit. And then, and then occasionally we'll take a Saturday off, if it's a holiday or something like that. So, like the next couple of weekends, I'm not sure what we're going to do yet. We haven't even discussed it with Christmas coming up here and New Year's and whatnot. But either way, no matter what, we'll be back, right after the beginning of the year and be doing our mastermind on a consistent basis. But right now, what we're doing is we're actually studying the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People in the Digital Age by Dale Carnegie. And we are in, let's see here, if this is like a chapter 2, section 6 or something like that. Yeah, part 2, section 6, and it's called Leave Others a Little Better. And, I made the title of our hangout this morning, 3 ways small picture thinking can have a big impact on your business. And the reason I said that is because of what we're going to be talking about in this chapter. But before we get going, I want to give everybody an opportunity to kind of introduce themselves and just say where you're hanging out from. And for those of you who are out there hanging out on the event page, go ahead and comment on that page and let us know where you're hanging out from. And as we go through this discussion, feel free to add your thoughts and comments, and we would love to hear from you. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to whoever wants to jump out first. Come on out.
All right, I'll hop on out. Hey, it's Sandy Root here in sunny Miami Beach, and just waking up, so I've got my nice cup of coffee here, ready to share with y'all. Looking forward to it.
Good morning, everybody. This is Danielle DeLyons out in Anaheim, California, very close to Disneyland, and I'm with Sandy. We're coffee lovers. So we're just getting our day started, excited that we're back online with everybody today, and look forward to sharing what we have to share.
Hi, I'm Catherine Clement, and I'm out here in Boulder, Colorado. I've definitely got my coffee going this morning, and glad that everyone could make it back this week, and people are feeling better, and looking forward to today's discussion. Thank you for coming.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to have you here with me, and I love hanging out with you guys and just discussing these different topics that we learn about in these books. And so welcome to Fabiana. She's on our event page. Welcome. I don't know where you're hanging out from, Fabiana, but if you want to let us know, that'd be awesome. I'd love to hear where you are in the world. Okay, so let's go ahead and just kind of jump into this chapter here. There was so many good suggestions in here, but I wanted to start with just this story that at the beginning to just kind of I don't know, I guess explain the difference between big picture thinking and small picture thinking. And the beginning of this chapter, it talks about how this man and woman were in a cab, and they were on a business trip or something like that, and they get out of the cab and they go about their business and they're doing whatever it is that they're involved with, and all of a sudden he realizes he doesn't have his phone. He's accidentally thinks that he left it in the cab. Well, when he calls his phone, the cab driver answers the phone, and of course he's kind of he's frustrated because he's lost his phone. He thinks he's going to have to replace the phone. He's going to lose all his contact information and all that kind of stuff. So he's upset about it, and he's talking to the cab driver about that. And the cab driver's like, I understand, no problem, I'll get it to you just as fast as I can. And, so this cab driver goes out of his way and brings the guy his phone, And how many times in our lives have we, heard stories where somebody's lost their phone and it's just never to be found again. Nobody ever finds it, or nobody would ever take the time out of their, out of their life to bring you your phone. And yet this cab driver made a big effort in his day to go out of his way to bring it to this guy. And I thought, this is such a perfect example of the small picture thinking, because that cab driver could easily have just been like, sorry about you, I've got 10,000 people I got to deal with today. Why should I come back over to you because you were stupid enough to leave your phone in my car? I mean, he could have that kind of an attitude, but on the other hand, and of course the other thing is that as a cab driver, he probably would never even see that guy again, most likely. I mean, if they're like in a big city or something like that, and there's thousands of cab drivers and thousands of customers, he may never see that person again, but yet he made the effort to go out of his way and bring that phone back to the guy. And and I thought that was a really good example of this kind of small picture thinking versus the big picture thinking, because if all he was thinking about is making his next fare all day long, it's just all the fares that he was going to get, and just didn't even have any care for this guy, then obviously that's thinking of his own big picture and not that individual. And that kind of reminds me, I posted a picture today that shares that little story about the starfish, the little boy walking along the beach, and he's throwing the starfish back in the ocean, and somebody walks up to him and says, you can't save them all. And the little boy's like, yeah, but it matters to this one. It matters to this one individual. And when we think about impacting individuals, helping individual people, and that's what our whole topic has been throughout this whole section. Is each section has given us a different tip or a different method for really connecting with people. And when we start to think on a personal level versus a large level, then we actually can make a bigger impact with other people in our lives and in our business. So what do you guys think?
This made me think, I think a lot of times people think about, well, I want to help lots of people. I want to have this big impact, and I want to, like that starfish story, why are you wasting your time just throwing one in at a time if you can't help them all? But it's those little steps. It's almost like it reminded me of celebrating the small successes too. Like if we're just waiting for the big success, then we're just sitting there like suffering forever. But if we celebrate every small success, it's so much more fun. And it's the same with this. Like even throughout the day, just taking little ways to help people. There's always these ways you can find to do something extra for people throughout your day. And even if it's just one person, you make a huge impact, and you feel better, they feel better, and I think it's what we're here for on this planet, to help each other. That I think ultimately is to just be here for each other and do the little steps. And it's not just about the big impact, but every little step in each day, even if someone doesn't even know that you were helping them, just that in your heart that you did, and it just makes you feel good too. So yeah, it's good stuff.
I agree with you on that one, Sandy, because those small steps have ripple effects as well. And you don't know really how big an impact a small step can have, because that leads to people telling other people. Sometimes the little insignificant things that don't give too much mind to really can mean such a difference for someone else that may share that with someone. And I found this story really compelling because he took the time to share that with so many other people that that little insignificant story had a big story behind it in some ways.
Did you get your audio working, Dan? No, I still can't hear you.
Bummer. I wonder what's going on with it. That was so weird. Well, you can hang out and smile and give us thumbs up and stuff like that in the comments on the page, right? You add your thoughts there. I did want to mention real quick, that that you had commented on our pre-mastermind discussion. You're the only person that actually got around to doing that this week, which is crazy. How we had 2 weeks to do it, and only one of us got around to doing it. But you had mentioned in there, you're of course talking about the sales story with the shoe sales story. And I thought that one was a good one as well. But one thing that you said is here is like many small indiscretions over time add up to a feeling of humiliation or just plain injustice. And one of the things it talks about here that really struck me is I think it was kind of at the end of this section. It was talking about how um, there is no neutral interaction with people. You either leave people a little bit better or you leave people a little bit less, or worse off. And it was talking about how this one guy, he had been divorced and he was getting ready to get married, and his friend was asking him, why do you think that it failed in the past? And he was like, well, you have all these opportunities in your life, with your partner to A, show them they're the most important person in your life, or B, not. And he said, a lot of the times it was I just didn't. There was more times in my life where I left I didn't show that appreciation. I didn't show that person that they meant the most to me more often than I did. And what's interesting about that is that when you kind of look at that on a scale of business, and you look at it as far as your relationships with your friends, your family, your colleagues, your coworkers, your customers, your personal relationships, whatever it happens to be, when you really look at every single interaction that you have with every single person, and you have a goal to always leave that person a little better or do something to benefit them in some way, add value to their lives or whatever, is that you always will tip the scales in the direction of having a good and positive relationship. Whereas if you're always doing something, just even if it's the tiniest little things that are not beneficial to your relationship, when you do those more often, then obviously you tip the scales in the direction of where people are not going to like you, they aren't going to care about you, they're not going to listen to what you have to say. And so I think this is just a really great chapter to kind of shine a light on those individual interactions that we have with people, and just remind us that every little thing counts, whether we think it does or whether we think it does, or whether we think it doesn't, is that it really does. And so it's important for us to focus on that. So that's kind of my thought. Anybody else want to jump out?
One of the small things that happens a lot online that people don't realize the impact of it. We develop relationships. The only reason all of us are here this morning, I know, is because of our commitment to each other, to be here, and we enjoy each other's company. And we were all sick for a while, and took a sort of had to take a little vacation, so to speak, try to pull things back together, and people, like I haven't been on Facebook for a while now, because when you develop relationships with so many people, whenever I'd get online, there'd be like 20 people wanting to talk, so I was immediately exhausted. Like I had just enough energy to turn on the computer and look at stuff, but to actually engage with people, it was crazy. So people, we are real people out here in La La Land. It seems like it's internet, but well, it is internet, but you know what I mean. People, not only the good little things make a difference, but also the bad little things. One of the things I noticed, I had a couple of people that contacted me about their newest opportunity, and I mean, I haven't talked to these people in 6 months or something, and all of a sudden I get this, hey, join me in this, so those little things also um, I hate to say it, but I mean, I just like disregard them because I don't have that relationship with that person that they can just come bombard me with their newest deal. You know what I mean? So sometimes I think we get online, we get really excited about this big picture, and then we do all these little things that really take away from the big picture more than add to the big picture. Does that make, am I making any sense? I don't know. I'll hush now.
Yes, you're making perfect sense. I really there is so many great things in this chapter. I'm with you on with Dan what he said. This chapter is just filled with them, with the little stories, and I just kind of wanted to hit on what you said, Catherine. It said it was talking in here about most business people treat customer service like an ad campaign. They post it, promise it, and promote it, but unless they produce it in small increments every day, customer service is only lip service. And I agree with that so very much in what you're saying, Catherine, because being sick and things, you know, you kind of slow down. I kind of went through the same kinds of things. I felt offended by people that try to contact me. I don't even talk to you. You're not my friend. And it's like it says here. It's like what you must also remember is that what motivates you to win friends is rarely what motivates others to grant you friendship. And through Google especially, I've kind of slowed down on Facebook. It's a different dynamic, but I really enjoy Google. It's a more warm atmosphere I'm finding in actually getting to know people and develop really strong friendships because, like, on an average daily basis, there's a lot of good mornings, have a great day. I interact with so many people doing that. And what's happened over time on a business standpoint, because I've done that and I very sparingly put my business out there, people remember it. And this one girl sent me her contact information this past week, and I called her, and I was just reminding her of who I was, and she was all excited. It shocked me, and she goes, "Oh my gosh, I watch every post, and I just love what you have to say, and you're always so warm and nice." And, you know, I'm not saying that to say anything other than that it's because I'm developing a relationship, a true friendship with them. I'm not trying to shove my stuff down their throat. And the only reason I'm interested in knowing who you are as a friend is because I want you to be interested in what I got you to buy from me. And so that's a very important element. I'll turn it over to somebody else.
Well, I wish Dan could talk today because this is his chapter here, the Golden Rule. And I know he would have so much good stuff to. I hope he's typing in. I haven't looked over on the thing. I hope he's typing in over there.
Let's see here what Dan says on the page. He says, "I was raised to treat others as more important than myself. I don't always live up to that ideal, although I do strive to do it. But it is my goal to always look out for the needs of others above my own and treat others with care and concern, not for what I can get from them, but because they are important as human beings." Absolutely, Dan. You know, and I think that that really is the key. You know, in a like a customer service kind of perspective, if we're in business, and you know, we kind of look at it as the going above and beyond. You know, that's typically what they say is the way to do business and to how to be as far as customer service goes. And that going above and beyond usually means just the little things, you know, doing those little things that make the difference in the customer's you know, perspective. And what I find interesting on that side of it is that if you truly want to have success in business, just like what Danielle was saying as far as building the relationships and just it's these all these little things, it's that, in my opinion, it's not going above and beyond. It's doing what you ought to be doing in the first place, you know. And you know, and it kind of talks a little bit about that in this section where it was talking about the Macy's manager, the sales manager for the shoe department, and they're like, you know, okay, let's focus on getting sales up. Let's, you know, really focus on making those sales this month or 6 weeks or whatever period of time it was. And so they focused on the sales, they focused on that, and then pushing sales, and pushing sales. Well, it turned out that the sales amount wasn't up. actually went down compared to the normal time when they were focused on the little things. They're focused on making their customers have a more pleasant experience and helping them with little things like, holding their, holding the kid while they're checking out, or helping them to the car, or whatever it happens to be. It's just all those little things. And I think about those similar interactions in different stores and restaurants that I go to is that you can see, I mean, it's such a huge difference, just those little interactions that you have. It's like one store, it's like at Walmart, we buy quarters so that we can, use them in the laundry machines here at the campground. And if we go to Walmart, it's like a huge hassle. They act like it's the end of the world that we want to buy a roll of quarters, right? But if we go over to the Winn-Dixie, it's like they are so happy to give us a roll of quarters. That's just like they want to take our bags out to the car. They want to help us check out at the self-checkout lane. I mean, it's a huge difference, and it's just all these little things that, make a big difference in the impression that that somebody has with us. And so if we translate that over to our, the online side of it, if our business is online and we focus on that, how can we leave people a little bit better, tip the scales in the direction of, making people feel like we've given them value or helped them in some little itty-bitty way, is that makes you stand out hugely compared to all these other people out there that are just like, what everybody was saying is just posting a random link. It's like I've had multiple people this past week who just randomly hit me up and they're like, hey, we haven't talked in a while. I just want to let you know what business I'm in. Here's my link. And I'm like, well, well, no wonder we haven't talked in a while. You don't have any care to talk. You don't have any any interest in anything else that we do. I mean, it just makes absolutely no sense that but that's kind of what we're taught. When we first come online, most generally, I think a lot of a lot of people, when you first come online, you're trying to do some kind of online marketing, is they just say, go get your link in front of as many people as you possibly can, and it's all about the numbers. That's what they say, is that the more people that you get that link in front of, the more people that are going to see it, the more people that are going to join your business. And the truth is that the more people that you actually have an impact with, who you actually develop relationships with, that's what'll translate into more business for you. But the thing is it takes longer to develop those relationships, and so many people come online with this, and I completely understand. We all want to make money really fast out of the gate. That would be really awesome. I mean, it'd be wonderful if we just come online, make $1 million, and it'd be like no big deal. But it doesn't work that way. Not any different than it would if you were to start a traditional business out there in the world. You can't expect to just go into business and have, thousands and thousands of customers instantaneously the very next day. It doesn't work that way. You've got to go and network with people and go to the Chamber of Commerce meetings and, and all those different things and do, marketing and this and that and the other. But it works the same way online. But I just wanted to kind of read through some of the things that it says in here. Because it says, while such big pictures have value, and of course it's talking about, obviously having big goals and succeeding big, says, so while big pictures have value, if our minds are focused only on big payoffs, we will overlook the small opportunities that makes the biggest difference. We will miss chances to go a little deeper, connect a little tighter, to make others feel that much better about their relationship with us. And this week I actually went to a new chiropractor, and my first impression of this place is a real nice place. The office people were really friendly, and then I met the doctor, and my first impression with him was that he was in a hurry and he wasn't really listening to me, right? And if that had been the only experience that I had had with that particular doctor in this clinic, I probably would have been turned off by the situation, just because I don't know about you guys, but when I go to the doctor, I just want the doctor to listen to what it is that I'm trying to say. And when they seem rushed, and when they have that kind of attitude of they know everything, it kind of turns you off, right? And so then when I went back the next day, he was kind of more in a laid-back mood. He must have just been having one of those days where he's just in a hurry. And so the second day, when I came back, he was all happy-go-lucky, happy to answer my questions, was really focused on what it was I was saying, and that little tiny difference made a huge impact on my feelings towards their entire clinic. And so I don't know, I just thought that was a good example. What do you guys think?
That reminds me, I was opening a business account when I first moved here to Miami, and I won't mention the bank, but it was like I felt like icky. Like when somebody doesn't treat you right, it's almost like I was judging myself, like what did I do wrong? Like, and I just like curl up inside, and so I was gonna stay with the bank, but then I'm like, you know what? No, I don't need to deal with this. So it was like even when I went in, it was like nobody. There's tons of reps around, but nobody's like acknowledging that I'm there, and I'm sort of like, am I invisible? And then, so they finally talked to me, and they said that my paperwork wasn't matching up. They didn't see my business on the Florida state thing or whatever. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have the papers here in my hand, and blah blah blah. And after that, I was just like, I'm going to find another bank, even though it was a hassle and all this. And as soon as I walked into the new bank, I felt right at home. They were like super friendly, took me right away. They looked up my paperwork online right away and found it. And I'm like, how did the other bank not see this? And the feeling inside of me was so much different, from feeling like curled in this ball of like this weird energy to feeling welcomed. And we remember that because it's an energy as well. They're putting their energy on us, and whether they are in maybe their own heads or they're having a bad day and they're projecting it on you, then it's just like all this transfer of energy, and we feel it, even if we're not maybe consciously aware of it, but we can feel inside when something doesn't feel right when we're dealing with customer service or something. And then it reminds me, someone commented on one of my YouTube videos that I made over a year ago, out of the blue yesterday, and it was about inferiority complexes and how like 90% of people are walking around with an inferior complex. Like people are always comparing themselves to others and thinking, well, this person's better than me than this, and this, and then the people who are acting like they're superior obviously have an inferior complex, because if you are quote-unquote superior in some way, then you're not going to walk around like acting like it, so you're more like humble. And what was my point on that? It was just part of that is when you realize that most people are walking around maybe feeling inferior in some way, if you're helping them in some way, you're making them feel better too, and lifting them up. So I think, when I did walk in that bank, it sort of made me feel inferior. Like I'm already afraid of accountants and dealing with that kind of stuff. So it's like this big resistance to me, like dealing with the getting money in order in the bank sense. And so I was already like, I don't want to do this, and it just made me feel small. And so when I went to the other bank, and they're like, don't worry, it's easy, we'll help you, and blah blah blah. It lifted me up, and so that was it all linked together. So that's it.
Energy and vibes, chakras, all of that is super important. And I didn't really understand it till probably about 2-3 years ago. A lot of just how important that vibe that we send out, and when we're not in alignment, not that I want to go into a real deep conversation about that, but when we're not in alignment with things, it backfires on us. And, you know, in reading this chapter, I really feel it's so important. This is actually one of the top books I've read more than any other book, but reading it in this context is a little different and trying to apply it a new way, because we're transitioning to a new way of being in relationships and interacting with people. And if we own home businesses, it's changing so much. And it was really interesting. You know, it's one thing when we're out, Sandy, like you're and Samantha, how you guys are talking, how we interact in public, because I'm the same way with people. I'll spend more going to one store and they don't have all the items that I like to buy for the home, but I go there because the energy is good. And I love being around those people and the people that are there. You just feel really good. And then when I have to go to the other store, I'm in and out of there so quick because there's certain things I got to go buy there, but I don't even want to be there. You know, and the same thing goes with how we interact. You know, we collect and gather people that are attracted to us on these calls or in these discussions, because that energy is so good and positive, and we bring more to each other through, and you know, it's like Tony Robbins was talking in there about is moving relationships from being manipulative to meaningful, and that's so much more important in today's society. I'm going to throw something in there really quick, you guys. I don't know if we may or may not talk about it, but something that's getting ready to change in the social media world is Facebook and Instagram are getting ready to change big time. And if your business is more about how much you're putting your stuff out there, and I happen to be in a company that a lot of people do that, that's all they post all day long is business, they might get shut down. They haven't taken the time to bring other types of value and layers, so to speak, to their business that's attractive to other people. And it's not that I'd say, oh, I'm going to have a big one on them, but I am, because in a sense, I've built the other layers that are going to help my relationships later on. They might not have a business, and it's so unattractive. I've taken my notices off so many people that I work with because they don't build relationships, and I can see it, and they don't understand why their customers go away, and they don't seem to grow the right way. And I think it's a lot to do with that. We have to build meaning and value in every little thing that we do. We have to attract good positive vibes in everything that we do, and we're more visible very quickly. It's not like the old age where you could do it over time and people got your name through word of mouth. Now it's visible immediately. So our impression in everything that we do and say is so very, very important and vital today. And I'll hand it over to somebody else.
I want to give a shout out. I wish I told everybody before we got on here, everything is like set just right where it works, so I can't move to get up and get something right now. I wish I'd have had it here, but a friend that I made online sent me something. Actually, several people have sent me something in the mail, so it's not that I want, find one thing to be better than the other, but one thing really made an impact on me because I'm an artist. I do custom stained glass, and I used to paint, and I painted for several years and supported myself that way, but then I kind of got burnt out on it, and I was, it turned into like 18 hours a day of painting, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. So, but I always, what I'm finding now is that I did not give those things value, not just monetarily, but as far as the impact that they have on people. And I sent a piece, for instance, I sent a piece to a lady in Georgia, and we've stayed in touch all these years, and she tells me every time she sees it, she just like, I made a stained glass horse for her, and she has it hanging in a doorway, and every time she goes through, she reaches up and she touches it, and she connects with me, and I kind of poo-pooed that. I didn't realize the impact of that until this past week. I received a gift from someone in the mail, a handmade piece, and from James Lumpkin. I hope I'm saying his name right. Thank you so much. Um, and this piece, every time I see it, it just puts a smile on my face, and it's just so heartwarming to me. It's something that he made, and sometimes those little things, like I didn't realize the impact that my pieces were having on people until I received that, and now I see, oh yeah, so it sort of inspired me to get back to my artwork a little bit, and but none of that would have transpired if I had just slammed him with links. So I think, going back to what the book is talking about, really, um, the impact that him sending me that gift has had on me is so much more than I don't even know how to describe it. What I'm trying to say is, yes, these little small things coming out. He could have looked at his big picture and said, because he didn't even charge me for. I mean, I think we're going to do some kind of trade or something. I'll make a piece for him, but he just sent it to me out of the kindness of his heart and let me choose one that I loved. He sent me all these pictures. He could have just like sent me say, well, I do these things and you should buy one, like most people do. But he didn't. He sent me an email. I mean, we've been friends and talking, other than business, of course. But when it came around to it, he sent me pictures and videos and let me choose. And, it was very personal. It was very heartfelt. And, I've never met him in person, but he and his wife are just amazing people. So I, the friendships that you can make online can be as strong or stronger than, the ones that you have offline. We're in the holiday season now, and so a lot of people have family around, and um, depending on your beliefs, some people say that we choose our family before we come in, and I think that's probably true. However, I don't know that we always understand how difficult some of those relationships are going to be. uh, as far as energy goes, there's energy in circles of people online, and that's one of the reasons why I'm here this morning with all these wonderful people, because of the energy that we share with each other. And there's energy, that's why when I'm not feeling well, you probably won't see me online, because I would rather not spread that energy. I just don't even want to go there. I'll and sometimes I can push through and bring it around, and sometimes I can't. And when I can't, I'm like a wolf. I just go in my den and lick my wounds or something for a while until I can bring it back together, because our energy does impact people on a huge level, whether we realize it or not. And you can't undo it. Some things once they're done, right? Would you guys agree with that? You just can't undo undo some things. Like, you were lucky, Sam, that you gave that chiropractor another chance. I went to a seminar some time ago, a class that a chiropractor did, and he was very generous to give his time to teach the program, but there was absolutely no questions afterwards. Like, he was just like, okay, I'm done, I'm out of here, gone. And I was just like, what? I mean, he had a whole room of people. You could tell we were all, ready to at least ask a question or something to clarify what he said, or but he was just out of there. And that's probably a chiropractor that I will never go see. So, some of those sorts of little things cannot be undone. So you can't be like super hyper vigilant about everything you think, say, or do all the time. I mean, that you would be too fake that way, but um, you definitely have to be aware of the impact that you have, both positive and negative. Uh, and it's so easy to do on the internet. You can so easily maybe say something or post something, and then thank God sometimes on some of these platforms you can take it off, but other ones you can't. So I've always been one to, think twice before I say something, and I have to do that with posting as well. Because sometimes I'll go, oh yeah, I'm going to post that. No, like, no, I'm not going to post that. I'll hush.
Let me read real quick. Dan put on here. I mean, did you get your microphone yet, Dan? No. Okay. All right. Yeah, I can't hear you. I thought I saw you on mute, but yeah, let me read what you wrote on here on the event page real quick, since you haven't had an opportunity to add in recently, or in the past couple of minutes or so. Okay, so Dan says, years ago I was painting commercial building and I was going across the back of the building. I was taking great amount of care to do a job and do it right, or do a top job of doing it right. My employee that was with me at the time asked why I was taking so much time, as no one will ever see it and the owner won't know if I did it right or not. And I said, that is true, but I will know. I believe that is the kind of customer care that is important. And yes, I could have made more money if I had hurried through the backside, but I have to live with myself and agree to the right job, or agreed. Sorry, I'm just fumbling my words, but I have to live with myself, and I agreed to do the job right. Okay, that's so important, because when we think about it, and just like Catherine was talking about the energy that we put out there, if you're doing things kind of half-assed, and and maybe you are the only one that will realistically know about it, you're still putting out that energy of not doing the best that you could possibly do, and not taking the care that you could take, or and that sort of thing. And I think that that's really, really important, is that whole, our attitude, our what's the word I'm looking for, just the aura of what we are about, our values, our morals, or whatever you want to call it, is that whatever you feel that you are doing is what you're going to put out into the world, regardless of whether everybody actually knows on the surface of what you are doing. And that in this, it was the same thing in my pet grooming business, is that I could do things, I could rush through things, and there's a lot of things the pet owner would never know if I had not done, if I had not gotten that one tangle out of the armpit or something really like that. They would have never noticed it, but I would have known. I would have known that I didn't take the care to make sure that the job was done, and the job was done right. And and I think that the same thing holds true when we're talking about online, and when we're making our videos, or when we're writing our blog post, or when we're creating a tweet, or we're posting a picture, or whatever it happens to be. It's the intention that people ultimately feel, because it may be on the surface that it looks one way, but because of the fact that we're all connected on an energy level, and because of the fact that our intentions have so much power, is that if you're just randomly going out there and just posting whatever, and not really putting any thought process into it, and not really putting any feeling into it, and just kind of blah, people are going to pick up on that whether we want them to or not. It happens. I've written a blog post once or twice before, and it's just been just to get a blog post done, just to do something, get it done, just get it out there, and it didn't have nearly the impact, it didn't have nearly the interaction, it didn't have anybody even caring that it even existed. It was like, why did I even waste my time? Because I didn't put it out there with the right kind of attitude in the first place. And if you put it out there with an intention of you creating a positive impact on people, then ultimately you are tipping the scales in the direction of leaving other people a little bit better. And so I think that's kind of really the biggest key with this chapter, is to really think about every little interaction that you have with people, and what intention is it that you have behind that. What is your ultimate purpose in doing whatever it is that you are doing at that moment, in every moment. And if you're not doing it with the intention to help people, to impact people in a positive way, to just bring value to other people's lives, then you're wasting your time. That's my thought on it anyway. What do you guys think?
I agree with you on that, Samantha. Somebody recently said something, I'm not going to emotionally, this was somebody in a group of people I was with, and, well, I'm not going to invest myself emotionally in people until they show me they're worth my time. And I thought, that's horrible. You know, what a horrible statement. You don't realize how unattractive that was to say that. And because you don't know how you impact people through every interaction, you know, and it is those small things. The significance may come on later on, and I've said this on other calls before, but I've seen so many times, because I've taken the time to really care about people, and I'm not saying that like I need a pat on the back, but I know how I like to be treated, and I want to treat other people the same exact way I want to get treated. And because I do take the time, and I just like, you know, a minute ago I was just saying good morning to somebody, and they asked, I put a picture of a red cardinal up on Facebook this morning as my happy Saturday, and somebody wanted to know what type of bird that was, and I took the time to answer them. And it's those little tiny things you don't think really mean anything, but it makes a big deal to somebody else because they took the time to reply to that. And I've had those same kind of people come back later on because of taking time, and they've brought business to me, or they've introduced me to other people. Oh, can I add her as your friend? And it's because they know the value. I do take time to think about what I put out there, because I want to bring value, and I want people to think from their heart as well. And if it impacts them in a positive way, then I've done what God designed me to be. And sometimes it's bigger than other things that we don't even realize that are so important. It's just like the story of Mona Lisa in the book, in the chapter, that he didn't just paint that picture. It was like he started in 1503 and didn't finish until 1519, and you know, contemplating, they say, the smile and what it took, but it adorns its own 7.5 million room in the Louvre, and where 6 million people visited every year. And they say that this painting is worth $500 million US. And you just think about the value of thinking with time and really having care. The payoff is so huge when you do take the time emotionally to care about what other people feel, not for your own selfish means, but for them. It will always come back to you in a more positive way. Energy, all the things that we kind of touched on this morning.
Yeah, when you're talking about time, it makes me think, you know, of our society today. Everybody just wants things so fast, like just, and they want that relationship to just be there today, that business relationship. Here's my link, come join me now, I need the money, or whatever, you know. And it's like, it's so important to take that time. It takes time to build a relationship, and like we've discussed in the past, people don't just join a business because they see your link, they join because of you. So it's important to build that relationship and take the time and care that it takes to build that. And it's not a quick fix to build a relationship in our society. Maybe other things, but relationships, no. So.
There's another part in here, and it was talking about, let's see here, it says, in the same respect, your biggest and best intentions for a relationship, for your followership, for your company or collaborative endeavor will regularly fall short of their potential if your inspirational intentions do not translate into small acts of service and value. Most businesses treat customer service like an ad campaign. They post it, they promise it, they promote it, but unless they produce it in small increments every day, customer service is only lip service. And then it goes on, it says, what you must always remember is that what motivates you to win friends is rarely what motivates others to grant you friendship. So I thought that was just a real important thing. And it says, let's see here. Those with whom you want to connect and collaborate see only the small pictures of their own experience with you. They see the true measure of your motives in bites and feats. They are motivated by how things are versus how you say that you want them to be, if you will. And so I think that's super powerful to remember every little interaction that you have with people, particularly online. I mean, we kind of get this idea of this kind of disconnection, if you will, about, you know, since we're not actually sitting right in front of a person, is that we don't necessarily feel like we're making much of an impact on people. But yet when you really look at it and you think, okay, you know, what is it that I'm putting out there into the world, and how is that affecting people? You know, if you know, if you're making these just kind of random posts that don't have any value, they don't really mean anything, or if you're just posting your business links or whatever, you got to remember that's the only thing that people are seeing from you. They're not seeing your everyday interactions with your family. They're not seeing your personality on a daily basis. All they're seeing are these little itty bitty things that you kind of randomly do here and there, and that is their big picture of what you are and what you're about. And so if you aren't putting any purpose behind that, if you're not purposefully trying to show who you really are and what you're really about and show that you care, then people aren't going to see it. I mean, that's just what it boils down to. So and I think that's just really important. And I think that, you know, just, you know, we've already said multiple times about, you know, tipping the scales in one direction or another, that if you ultimately want to have better relationships with people online, is you've got to remember that every little interaction makes a difference, and of course you have to do it consistently, just like it was saying in here, is that consistent actions over time is what makes the biggest impact, because that helps people actually see you for who you are and what you're all about. And you know, because you can be the most awesome and amazing person in the world, but if you're not portraying that online, because you're not doing anything on a consistent basis, or because you are not posting things that actually add value to people's lives, then nobody will ever know. So that's kind of my final thoughts on that, really. Does anybody else want to add anything before we wrap up for today? Any final thoughts?
All the little things add up, especially online, and people can get. I don't think it's always intentional. You know, we've mentioned this so many times. You come online and you kind of do what you're told, because, you know, most of us, well, at least in my age bracket, that weren't, you know, raised on iPods and iPads and all this technology and stuff. It's a whole learning curve to us. We may have been very successful in our previous lives before coming online, and but when we get here, it's a whole new world, and we just sort of have to go by, you know, what we're told to do. And of course, the first thing they tell you to do is be coachable. So just shut up and do what you're told, you know. And we all kind of do that. And I think that's one of the reasons why we're here, is to try to maybe help other people shorten that learning curve a little bit. You know, everybody's going to go through it, but if we can help people a little bit by saying, hey, you know, don't just be blindly coachable, be intelligently coachable, and understand that, especially online, every little thing makes an impact, and once it's there, it's pretty much there to stay. There are some places where you can take stuff down, but there's other places where you can't. And so you know, if you're whatever platform you're using, whether it's Facebook or Google Plus or whatever, they all have sort of a home page where somebody can go and pretty much scroll through your stuff and see what you're about. So make sure that you're putting what you're about on there, you know, not what your company says you should be about, because they're not joining the company, they're not joining the team, they're joining you. I mean, they are joining the team, but they're joining you because they like you. So if all you have on there is link, 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 you know, that's going to send one sort of picture, and those are the sorts of people that you're going to attract. And then the people that you bring in under you are going to do what you do. So make sure that you're doing what you want them to be doing, and, you know, so that they can so that you can all be in congruence, and don't if you're wondering maybe why you're not getting the results that you need, that you think you want, then you can go back and sort of reevaluate. Well, how have I been presenting myself? Am I just spamming links every day, or and evaluate what you're doing and see maybe you do need to engage more personally. Sometimes you can get so tied up in just that's one of the things about being online. You can get hundreds of friends that suddenly you're trying to have conversations with every day. So it can be, you have to learn how to negotiate your energy, but just make sure that you're being you out there and not being somebody that you're not. That's my final thought. Thanks.
I just want to touch on, I think that's important, what you said, Catherine, about, the people who join you will do what you do. And so, I'm sure people join a lot of the link spammers, and that's what they end up doing. And that's why a lot of this industry has a bad name, because there's just so many people doing that. But when you join someone based on a genuine relationship, and you really build a nice team, and like you said, they do what you do. So be that which you want them to be, and they'll follow you. So I think that was an important point.
You guys make some awesome points. Danielle, did you have something else you want to add? Yeah. Okay. All right. I wanted to read Dan's comment real quick, and then we can wrap it up for today. Okay. So Dan says, I love the network marketing industry for many reasons, but there's also an underlying problem in this industry, and that is looking at people as fresh meat, like they have a target on their backs, and looking at them only as a mark that might be my next sale. This is why networking has had a bad reputation, because people rebel against being a target. Like the crazy MLMer that won't shut up about their company and product when it's obvious that the prospect has no interest. In the final analysis, always endeavor to treat people the way that you want to be treated, with respect and love. Give honest praise, and if you are in a service business, then give the best service that you can give. Absolutely, Dan. I so completely agree with that, and exactly. And this is kind of the thing. This is why we do these hangouts and why we study these books, is to help people become better at just being a better version of themselves, for one, and also improving the relationships that we are working on creating, for those of us that are in the network marketing industry and who are marketing online and selling online and that sort of thing, because without relationships, then you don't have a business. And if you are, like everybody said, is if you're just spamming, if you're just posting links about your business and it's all me, then nobody cares. Nobody wants to listen to you, because ultimately they are all about me themselves. And if you aren't playing to the tune of them, then you're not going to have the success that you want ultimately. So, and that's kind of where the small picture thinking is that you've got to think about every individual that is potentially going to see your post or interact with you in some way, or that you are going to interact with them, and just make an effort to be remembering that every little interaction does make a difference, and that you want to make sure that you're tipping the scales in the direction of a positive impact. So I just want to kind of just a little bit of a review of what we've kind of talked about the past few sessions, because this is the last chapter in part 2, and part 2 was 6 ways to make a lasting impression. And so if you guys have missed these previous sessions, you can always go to replays.saturdaymorningmastermind.com. You can go back, watch the previous sessions, and see the different topics that we have discussed on the building of relationships and getting relationships going, so that you can ultimately build a better, more successful business online or in any business, really. I mean, these tools and techniques are very effective for any kind of business that you're doing, and particularly we've been focusing on online business. So next week we're going to be talking about, or part 3, which is how to merit and maintain others' trust. So we've talked about how to start the relationships. Now we're going to talk about building on that beginning and really gaining that trust of the people. And so there's going to be 10 different topics on that we're going to cover. And, you know, before we jump off here real quick, guys, I just wanted to kind of touch base with you for the holidays, so we can just kind of let everybody know what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks, of whether or not Saturdays are going to be good for us, or if we want to just go ahead and start back up again after the first of the year. What do you guys think? What do you have going on the next couple of weeks?
I can do next week, but not the New Year's week. Whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm the same with Sandy. I can do next week, but not the following one.
Okay.
Mm.
Dan, can you do next week? Thumbs up. Okay. And Catherine?
As far as I know, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll all meet here again next week. And, of course, for those of you who are watching, you can find us at SaturdayMorningMastermind.com. So the Saturday after Christmas we'll be online. We'll be broadcasting. And then the Saturday after New Year's we will not. So just to kind of give you guys a heads up on that. And otherwise, meet us over in our community, which is MindsetMasteryCollective.com. And post your thoughts, comments, insights on anything that we're studying, and we look forward to hearing from you. And I hope you have an awesome, amazing, and wonderful weekend, and we'll see you again next week on our Saturday Morning Mastermind. Bye for now.
Bye.